The cafeteria of Rosewood Academy was the pride of the school. Marble floors gleamed like mirrors, golden chandeliers reflected across polished glass tables, and the room buzzed with the chatter of the privileged. It was the kind of place designed to show wealth, not to feed children, and that made what happened next impossible to ignore. "Didn't know they were letting in strays now," sneered Claire Morgan, her voice sharp enough to cut through the entire hall. She tilted her chin high, her expensive bracelet glinting in the light. "Guess Rosewood will take anyone if it makes their diversity quota look good." Her words echoed against the marble. Then came the crash. A lunch tray clattered onto the floor, its noise breaking the endless chatter into silence. Hundreds of students turned, their eyes locking on the center of the room where Claire stood towering above someone else. That someone was Maya Brooks. Milk dripped down her uniform. Her books and papers lay scattered across the floor, stained red with spaghetti sauce. Claire's heels ground the papers deliberately, leaving dark streaks on the white pages. Around them, students in spotless blazers and pressed skirts raised their phones, eager to record what promised to be another cruel performance staged at Maya's expense. Maya's fingers shook as she tried to pick up her ruined notes. Pasta clung to her hands, burning her skin and staining the fabric of her sleeves. Her jaw tightened, but her voice would not come. Claire smirked. "What's the matter? Can't speak proper English? Or did they only let you in because they think your kind is good at sports? Certainly not for your brains." Laughter rippled across the circle of students that had formed around them. Some sneered openly, others tried to mask their smiles, but none stepped in. 50 voices blending into one cruel wall of sound. Claire leaned closer, her perfume sharp, her blonde hair falling forward as she whispered, "People like you don't belong here. Go back to whatever project you crawled out of." For a moment, Maya's body stiffened. Her hands shifted instinctively, her stance adjusting into the first form her father had taught her years ago. Every muscle remembered. Every instinct told her to strike back. But she forced herself still. True power lies in knowing when not to fight. Her father's words rang in her ears. Claire straightened, tossing her hair over her shoulder with careless grace, confident she had won. But something flickered in Maya's eyes. A glimmer of power, restrained but undeniable. It was enough to make Claire step back just slightly without realizing it. Maya inhaled. She gathered her ruined notes, clutched her backpack tight, and walked out of the circle, her back straight, her steps slow, each footprint marked by a trail of red sauce across the polished floor. The audience, phone still raised, remained silent. No one cheered for Claire. No one applauded Maya, but the silence carried weight. This was not the end of the story. When Maya reached the small apartment she shared with her grandmother, the sharp contrast nearly broke her. The smell of lemon cleaner filled the air, mixed with the faint scent of herbal tea. A modest couch pulled out into her bed at night, peeling paint on the walls, a single worn rug covering cracked linoleum. But here at least was safety. "Is that you, baby?" Her grandmother's voice called from the kitchen, tired but warm. "Yes, Grandma," Maya answered, trying to keep her voice steady. She dropped her backpack by the door and forced a smile as her grandmother shuffled out, still in her nurse's scrubs, hair tied back, eyes lined with exhaustion. "How was school?" "Fine, just long," Maya lied, carefully hiding the milk stains under her jacket. "Mr. Alvarez says I might be in line for valedictorian if I keep my grades up." Her grandmother's tired face softened with pride. "Your daddy would be so proud." She touched Maya's shoulder gently. "I've got to head out again. Chicken and rice in the fridge. Don't stay up too late studying." The door closed behind her. Leaving Maya alone, she slid the coffee table aside, rolled out the old practice mat her father had given her before he died, and stood barefoot on its faded surface. The apartment felt small, the ceiling low, the walls too close. But when she breathed, when she moved, space opened inside her. Every kick, every block, every stance, each one sharper than the last. The humiliation from earlier did not break her, it fueled her. Her father's voice returned in memory, soft yet unyielding, turned pain into power. As she leapt into the air executing a flawless kick, she landed silently. The room shook faintly. Neighbors below might later swear the building itself had rattled. Her heart beat hard in her chest, not from exhaustion but from fire. And deep down she knew one truth. The cafeteria was not the battleground. That had only been the opening shot. The real fight, the one that would decide her future, was still to come. The next morning arrived too quickly. Maya rubbed the sleep from her eyes, folded the mat back into its corner, and transformed the living room into its usual cramped state. The walls still smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and rice from last night, but now the day carried a weight heavier than the night before. On the bus ride to Rosewood Academy, her phone buzzed. A new email notification slid across the screen. She tapped it and her heart lurched. National Martial Arts Championship registration. Deadline, 2 weeks. The words glared back at her like an accusation. Entry fee, $2,000. She read it again, then again, as if the number might change. But it didn't, $2,000. To anyone else at Rosewood, that was pocket money. To her and her grandmother, it was impossible. Their rent alone consumed nearly everything. Her grandmother's double shifts kept the lights on, and Maya's scholarship covered most of the tuition, but $2,000 might as well have been $2 million. Her father's dream had always been that she'd compete at the national level. He'd called it the bridge to everything, a path to scholarships, to college, to a future beyond survival. Now that bridge stretched out before her, but the planks were missing, and she had no way to cross. She clenched the phone and whispered to herself, "You'll find a way." But as the bus turned into the iron gates of Rosewood, she wasn't sure if that was courage or denial. The week that followed was relentless. Whitney's mocking campaign didn't slow down. If anything, it sharpened. At lunch, Maya approached a study group in the library. Trevor, Whitney's boyfriend and captain of the lacrosse team, looked her over once and smirked. "Sorry." "No room," he said. The table had 3 empty chairs. "Mr. Alvarez said we should work in groups of 5. Maya reminded him softly. "We said we're full," Trevor repeated, dismissing her like she was invisible. Claire, as always, slid in with the final cut. "Besides, we're discussing the charity showcase. My parents are sponsoring it. The winner gets a $2,500 prize. But don't bother, you wouldn't have anything worth showing." The number hit Maya like a lightning bolt. $2,500. Enough for the championship. Enough to change everything. She tried to hide her reaction, but Claire caught it instantly. "What? You think you have a chance?" Claire laughed, the sound loud enough for half the library to hear. "This showcase is for real talent, not charity cases." The words stung, but Maya walked away with her mind racing. The showcase wasn't just entertainment for wealthy parents. It was an opportunity, an opening carved into the wall that had kept her trapped. She needed to know more. That afternoon, Maya met with Ms. Bennett, the guidance counselor. She sat in the cramped office, explaining the harassment, the exclusion, the endless cycle. Ms. Bennett listened with a practiced smile that never touched her eyes. When Maya finished, Ms. Bennett stacked her papers neatly and said, "Claire Morgan's family built the east wing of our library. Perhaps you should try harder to fit in. Rosewood has a culture, Maya. We took a chance on you with this scholarship. Don't give us reason to regret it." The words landed like a door slamming shut. There would be no help from the adults. Not here. That night, back in the apartment, Maya rolled out her mat again. The practice dummy swayed under her strikes. Her body moved with perfect discipline, each form executed flawlessly. But tonight the movements carried more than control. They carried fury. Her master's words echoed. Martial arts is not about revenge. It is about harmony. But she could not find harmony in the memory of Claire's smirk or in the counselor's dismissal. The showcase. That was her way forward. It had to be. 2 days later, she stayed late at school. Passing the gymnasium, she heard the sound of a ball bouncing. Inside, the PE teacher, Coach Daniels, was practicing drills with a precision that caught her off guard. "You going to stand there all day?" he asked without turning. Embarrassed, Maya stepped inside. "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're the scholarship student, right?" "Brooks?" Maya nodded. "I've seen you move in class. You're not like the others. Where'd you train?" She hesitated, but something in his voice made her answer. "Taekwondo, 3rd degree black belt." Coach Daniels raised his eyebrows. "Impressive. So why do you let Claire Morgan walk all over you?" The bluntness cut through her. "My scholarship's academic," she muttered, "not for fighting back." Coach Daniels caught the ball and studied her for a long moment. "When I played in the WNBA, people told me I didn't belong. Too short. Too black, too loud. You can't let them decide who you are." He bounced the ball again. "That showcase, ever thought of entering?" Martial arts would stand out. Maya's chest tightened. The idea had been simmering since Claire mentioned the prize, but hearing it aloud made it terrifyingly real. "They'd never let me win," she whispered. "Maybe not," Daniels admitted. "But sometimes it isn't about winning. It's about being seen." Those words clung to her long after she left the gym, and for the first time she let herself imagine it. Standing on stage, showing them all who she truly was, but just as hope began to grow, her phone lit up again. Notifications poured in, dozens, then hundreds. Whitney and her friends had created a fake social media profile with Maya's photo. The posts were filled with exaggerated slang, mocking every stereotype. Comments and emojis piled up. Maya's hand shook as she read. The cruelty burned hotter than any insult in the cafeteria. This wasn't just mockery. It was an attack on her very identity. For the first time since arriving at Rosewood, tears slid down her face. Not from sadness, but from rage. And in that moment, her decision hardened like steel. She would enter the showcase. She would perform. And when she did, they would see her for what she truly was. Maya's chest tightened. The idea had been simmering since Claire mentioned the prize, but hearing it aloud made it terrifyingly real. "They'd never let me win," she whispered. "Maybe not," Daniels admitted. "But sometimes it isn't about winning. It's about being seen." Those words clung to her long after she left the gym, and for the first time she let herself imagine it. Standing on stage, showing them all who she truly was, but just as hope began to grow, her phone lit up again. Notifications poured in, dozens, then hundreds. Whitney and her friends had created a fake social media profile with Maya's photo. The posts were filled with exaggerated slang, mocking every stereotype. Comments and emojis piled up. Maya's hand shook as she read. The cruelty burned hotter than any insult in the cafeteria. This wasn't just mockery. It was an attack on her very identity. For the first time since arriving at Rosewood, tears slid down her face. Not from sadness, but from rage. And in that moment, her decision hardened like steel. She would enter the showcase. She would perform. And when she did, they would see her for what she truly was. The school halls at Rosewood always smelled faintly of perfume and polish. Even the air seemed to remind Maya that she was a guest, not truly part of this world. That afternoon, she lingered after class, waiting until the crowd thinned. She wanted silence. Instead, she heard whispers. The girls' locker room should have been empty. But as Maya stepped quietly inside to grab her gym clothes, voices drifted from the corner. Claire's voice, stripped of its usual confidence, trembled. "I can't do it, Allie. I've been practicing for weeks and it still looks wrong." Her friend's voice came sharp with frustration. "The showcase is 3 weeks away, Claire. Your parents are expecting you to win. Everyone is. You can't back out." "They'll kill me if I lose," Claire hissed. "And if anyone finds out I copied that routine from the viral video..." "Relax," Allie cut in. "No one will know. Just keep smiling. The judges won't dare crown anyone else. Not when your family practically owns this school." Their voices faded as they left. Maya remained frozen behind a row of lockers, her heart pounding. Claire Morgan, the queen of Rosewood, the one who had mocked her at every turn, was terrified. And worse, she was a fraud. The routine she flaunted as her own was stolen. Maya pressed her hands against the cold metal, steadying her breath. For weeks she had felt crushed under Claire's weight, but now she saw the cracks. Claire wasn't untouchable. She was hiding. That night, Maya sat at the small kitchen table in her apartment. The glow of the laptop screen reflected in her tired eyes as she stared at the online entry form for the charity showcase. Her cursor hovered over the name field. Her hand shook. If she entered, everything would change. Her fragile invisibility would vanish. Claire would come for her harder than ever. The administration would watch her every move, waiting for her to stumble. But the prize money could open the door her father had always dreamed of. Maya typed slowly. J. Brooks. Not Maya, just the initial. Enough to keep her identity hidden until the night of the showcase. Her finger pressed submit, the screen refreshed. "Thank you for your entry. Performance slot number 14. Her chest tightened. It was done. No turning back. The following morning, a harsh cough echoed through the apartment before dawn. Maya found her grandmother sitting on the edge of the bed, struggling for breath, her face flushed unnaturally. "You need a doctor," Maya urged. "Can't miss my shift," her grandmother wheezed. "Bills don't wait, But Maya insisted, walking her to urgent care before school. The diagnosis was pneumonia. Antibiotics, bed rest, no work for at least a week. On the bus back, Maya tried not to panic. Her grandmother's income kept them afloat. A single missed paycheck meant unpaid rent, unpaid utilities, food slipping off the table, and now Maya carried another weight. A scholarship review meeting scheduled for April 15th, the very day after the showcase. It was no coincidence. She knew it. The school was watching her. One wrong step, one excuse to label her unfit, and the scholarship would vanish. That night, after settling her grandmother into bed, Maya opened their shared bank account. The balance glared up at her. $2,437. Barely enough for rent and food, nowhere near enough for the registration fee. Her stomach twisted. She couldn't withdraw. She couldn't borrow. She couldn't ask. But she couldn't back out either. Every morning became a battlefield. She woke at 4:30, rolled out her mat, and practiced in silence while her grandmother slept. At school, she kept her head down, ignoring whispers. At lunch, she disappeared into empty classrooms to run through her routine. After school, she cooked, cleaned, and helped her grandmother recover. When the apartment was quiet, she practiced again. Sleep became scarce. Dark circles deepened under her eyes. But her movements sharpened, distilled by exhaustion into something fierce. At the community dojang, Master Han watched silently from the doorway as she completed her sequence, sweat dripping onto the mat. When she finished, gasping, he said, "Your body is perfect in its technique, but your spirit is troubled." "They'll never accept me," Maya whispered. "No matter what I do, they already decided what I am." Master Han's eyes softened. "Then it is time to stop trying to be accepted. Show them who you are." "That is enough." His words cut through her despair, and that night, as she collapsed into bed, she repeated them to herself like a prayer. "Show them who you are." Rosewood Academy carried itself like a kingdom. Every hallway polished, every classroom lined with portraits of alumni who had gone on to powerful lives. For Maya, each day felt like walking through enemy territory. She kept her head down, but the whispers always found her. By now, the showcase had become a subject of endless gossip. Flyers covered the bulletin boards, names whispered in classrooms, predictions traded like currency. Nobody knew who Jay Brooks was, but everyone had their guesses. "Probably some freshman," Claire said loudly in the cafeteria. "Or one of the nerds from chess club. Martial arts isn't a real talent. My routine will destroy them." Her laughter rang out, drawing the attention of half the room. Maya ignored her, focusing on her lunch tray, but her stomach twisted into knots. If Claire discovered her secret before the showcase, she'd do everything in her power to crush her. That evening, Maya arrived at the dojang after finishing her homework. She bowed to Master Han, then began working through her forms. But something was missing. Every move felt precise yet incomplete, like pieces of a puzzle that refused to lock together. She pushed herself harder. Higher kicks, sharper strikes, more complex combinations. Sweat poured down her back. Finally, she collapsed to her knees, gasping for air. "Technique alone is not enough," Master Han said from the doorway. "You fight against fear, not an opponent." "I don't know how to show them," Maya admitted. "Not the way I feel inside." "You are trying to prove you belong," he replied gently. "Stop proving. Start being." The words echoed in her mind long after practice ended. The next afternoon, she lingered by the gym again. Coach Daniel spotted her and waved her inside. "Show me," he said simply. Maya hesitated. "Show you what?" "Whatever it is you've been hiding." For the first time, she let someone else see her full routine. She moved across the polished floor, every strike controlled, every leap powerful. She spun, kicked, landed with precision that made the air itself feel electric. When she finished, her chest heaving, Coach Daniels let out a low whistle. "That's not just martial arts," he said. "That's a story." "You've got something real, Maya, don't waste it." Her heart hammered in her chest. Someone had finally seen her. But the moment of strength didn't last. That night, her phone buzzed again. Another wave of notifications. Claire and her friends had made a fake profile using Maya's photo, this time mocking her heritage, her family, her very identity. Dozens of comments flooded in before Maya could even process it. Her hands shook with fury. She threw the phone onto the couch and dropped into her stance on the mat. Every punch, every kick became a channel for the rage clawing inside her. The floor trembled under her. Downstairs, neighbors would later complain that the building shook. When she finally stopped, sweat dripping onto the mat, her arms trembled from exhaustion. But her resolve burned brighter than ever. The showcase wasn't just a chance to win money anymore. It wasn't just about scholarships or championships. It was about survival. It was about showing the truth, and she knew now. There was no going back. The calendar on Maya's phone counted down the days like a drumbeat. 10, 9, 8. Each morning she woke before dawn, practicing until her muscles screamed. Each night she folded her uniform with trembling hands, wondering if she would have enough strength left for the next day. Her grandmother's cough lingered, though the antibiotics helped. Still, bills began to pile up on the kitchen table. Medical costs, utilities, rent, all stamped with red reminders. One evening, Maya found her grandmother staring at a hospital bill, her expression heavy with defeat. "It's nothing for you to worry about," her grandmother said quickly, shoving the paper aside. But Maya had already seen the amount. $1,800. The showcase prize of $2,500 suddenly seemed like salvation, not just for the championship but for keeping a roof over their heads. Yet the pressure made her stomach twist. What if she failed? What if the judges favored Claire no matter what? The weight pressed down harder with each passing day. At school, the whispers about Jay Brooks grew louder. No one knew it was her, but the mystery performer at slot 14 had become a subject of fascination. Some mocked, others speculated. Claire dismissed it with disdain, but her eyes tightened every time the name was mentioned. Maya's exhaustion grew so heavy that by the final week, her body began betraying her. In chemistry lab, her hands trembled as she poured a solution. Claire, seated nearby, accidentally nudged her elbow, spilling the mixture across Maya's notebook. The sharp smell filled the air. "Miss Brooks," the teacher barked, "control your materials. That's a 0. Maya opened her mouth to protest, but he cut her off. "One more word, and it's detention. Be grateful for the opportunities you've been given." Claire smirked openly, the victory written across her face. Maya walked out of class with her notebook ruined, her grade marked down, her patience threadbare. By the time she reached the community dojang that evening, she unleashed everything on the practice dummy. Each strike carried fury, each kick echoed with her frustration. When she finally stopped, sweat dripping, Master Han approached. "You are strong," he said quietly, "but strength without peace consumes itself. Remember, this isn't about revenge. It is about truth." His words dug deep, though the fire in her chest refused to fade. The countdown ticked closer. 5 days. 4. 3. On the third night, Maya stayed late to rehearse alone in the empty gym. She poured every ounce of energy into the routine, leaping into the air, spinning, striking, flowing with precision. The echo of her movements filled the vast space. When she landed, she froze. Someone was watching. Coach Daniels leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. "So this is what you've been hiding," he said softly. Maya's heart jumped. If he told her secret would be out before the showcase. "Don't worry," he added with a faint smile. "I'm not saying a word. I want to see the look on Claire's face when you walk out on that stage." Relief washed through her, followed by something even rarer, support. But Daniels's expression turned serious as he studied her face. "You look like you haven't slept in weeks. When was the last time you rested?" "I'm fine," Maya said quickly. "No, you're not," he replied. "But you will be. The office has a couch. Go take a power nap. 20 minutes. I'll drive you home after." For the first time in weeks, she let herself collapse into that couch. The moment she closed her eyes, her father's voice came back to her. "You've got this, Jazz. Show them who you really are." When she woke, her exhaustion hadn't vanished, but the fire in her chest burned steadier. The showcase was now only 2 days away, and everything, her scholarship, her grandmother's bills, her father's memory rested on what would happen next. The Rosewood Performing Arts Center glowed under bright lights. Cars circled the entrance, parents stepped out in tailored suits, and the lobby hummed with quiet power. Inside, velvet seats swallowed sound. Backstage, voices rose and fell around racks of costumes and mirrors crowded with makeup. Maya stayed in the corner, calm against the noise, hands steady as she folded her white uniform and slipped it on. She tied her belt with the same care she gave every form. Then she wrapped her father's thin gold chain around her wrist. It felt warm against her skin. It felt like home. A clipboard brushed past. Performers to the green room. 10 minutes. Students crowded the hall in sequins and satin. Soft laughter. Hairspray in the air. Claire stood in the middle, dressed in an expensive costume that caught the light with every breath. Her smile was practiced. Her hands told another story. They shook when she thought no one was looking. The stage manager read the order. Claire Morgan, 6th. Jay Brooks, 14th. Claire turned, eyes moving over Maya's uniform. First confusion, then a cold smile. Are you working backstage? Or are you planning to do a little karate show? Maya met her eyes. It is taekwondo. We will both find out what the judges think. Claire's jaw tightened. My parents are sponsoring this. Do you understand? Her friends gathered close. The message was clear. You are not meant to win. The curtains rose. A senior at the grand piano opened the night with a precise sonata. Polite applause. A ballet duo followed. More applause. A singer with perfect breath control. A violinist. Each performance polished. Each performance safe. Claire took the stage 6th. Music swelled. Light sculpted her shape. She moved with careful grace. Every turn sharp. Every line rehearsed. The routine matched a viral video Maya had seen months ago. Step for step. Claire finished with a fixed smile. The applause came loud at first, then leveled into something expected, hands clapping because they were supposed to. The show moved on. Performers bowed and left the stage in a steady rhythm. Maya waited in the wings, barefoot on cool wood, breathing slow. She listened to the audience settle after each act. She watched hands return to laps. She watched faces slide back into calm. Her name was called. Performing a taekwondo demonstration. Please welcome Jay Brooks. A ripple moved through the room. Martial arts at a showcase built on piano and ballet. Maya walked to center stage. She bowed to the audience. She bowed to her father's memory. She bowed to herself. The first drum beat pulsed through the floor. Traditional rhythm carried on a low modern bass. Maya shifted into her opening stance. Her arms cut the air. Her feet found each line on the stage as if she had drawn them herself. The first form flowed into the next. Every transition clean. Every breath measured. The audience went silent. People leaned forward without meaning to. She moved faster. A turn. A kick that sliced through empty space with a crack. Then the boards. Assistants stepped forward with holders. One strike. A clean break. A turn, 2 boards. Another crack. A jump spin that ended with a third break. The sound echoed to the back row. A few parents flinched. Others smiled despite themselves. Then came the part that no one expected. She ran the diagonal, planted, and launched high. A flying kick hung in the light for a heartbeat before she landed silent. The room forgot to breathe. Not a phone moved. Not a whisper rose. A student from the crew and 2 basketball players stepped from the wings. She had asked for them earlier. They raised their arms to shoulder height. 3 across, tall enough to make a wall. Maya stepped back, found her mark, and felt the floor under her toes. She ran. The stage came alive under her feet. She leapt. Her body lifted and stretched above the wall of arms. The air held her in a clear line. Then the floor rushed up and she landed sure and quiet. A gasp broke from the first row. It spread like fire through the room. Maya removed the chain from her wrist, kissed it once, and raised it to the light. Then she bowed again. A deep bow. A bow that said, I know who I am. Silence held for one breath. Then the room surged to its feet. The sound was not polite anymore. It was full and bright and human. People stood. People whistled. People called her name even though they did not know it yet. Maya walked off stage into the wings. She passed Claire. The perfect makeup could not hide the shock on her face. The Queen of Rosewood had run out of lines. The final acts came and went. The stage lights softened. The head judge returned with an envelope and a voice that shook a little. Third place went to a violin concerto. Applause. Second place went to Claire Morgan for contemporary dance. The applause tried to be strong. It faltered. Claire walked out with a smile that did not reach her eyes. First place with a prize of $2,500 goes to Maya Brooks for an extraordinary taekwondo demonstration. The room erupted. The staff looked at one another. The donors whispered. The students forgot their place and cheered like they were at a game. Maya stepped into the light again. The judge handed her a small trophy and the envelope. Her fingers closed around it. Her heart felt steady and bright. She bowed one last time and stepped away as the lights came down. Backstage turned into a crowded hallway. Congratulations, questions, people who had never spoken to her before. She thanked them with care and moved toward the dressing room. The door pushed open hard. Claire stood in the frame, cheeks flushed, eyes sharp. You planned this. You humiliated me. My father can end your scholarship with one call. Maya folded her uniform and placed it in her bag. I entered. I performed. The judges chose. That is all. Claire stepped forward and shoved her shoulder. Maya redirected the force the way Master Han had taught her years ago. A small shift. Claire stumbled a step and caught herself. Do not touch me again. They did not know the door was still open. 3 students had seen the whole thing. Their phones were up. They had expected a loud fight. They captured a threat and a calm answer. Within an hour, the clips were on student group chats. By morning, parents had seen them too. Maya reached home with the trophy and the envelope. Her grandmother was awake in the small kitchen, wrapped in a blanket, eyes full of light. They opened the envelope together. They did the math at the table with a pen and a stack of bills. $2,000 for the championship registration, the rest toward the medical balance. It would not solve everything. It would keep the door open. Her grandmother rested her hand on Maya's. Your father would be proud. He would tell you to rest. Maya smiled, and for the first night in weeks she slept without fear. Morning brought a new test. The scholarship review was set for April 15. Maya arrived early and sat outside the headmaster's office. Coach Daniels waited nearby. He nodded once. His eyes said more. Inside, the headmaster and Ms. Bennett sat at the large desk. Files stacked neatly, diplomas on the wall, a brass clock marking time. Miss Brooks, the headmaster began. Your academic record is excellent. Top marks in mathematics and science. Strong performance across all subjects. There has never been doubt about your academic standing. Ms. Bennett raised concerns about cultural fit. His gaze shifted. Recent events have clarified those concerns. Your performance last night demonstrated discipline and courage. The video circulating this morning raised serious questions about the behavior of some students who enjoy unusual influence at this school. Rosewood was founded on excellence and character. We will honor both. Maya felt the room sharpen into focus. Her scholarship will continue, the headmaster said. In addition, I am initiating a review of our harassment policies. Ms. Bennett will lead that work. The message was clear. The ground had shifted. Power would not move unchecked. Not this time. Outside the office, students waited. Trevor stood there with a few friends from the team. What you did was unreal. Would you teach a club? Basic stuff. So people can stand up for themselves. Maya stared for a second. Then she laughed once. You want to learn from me? Why not? Said a girl from chemistry. You are the best at it. By afternoon, she had an email from the office. The martial arts club was approved with Coach Daniels as sponsor and Maya as student leader. Another email arrived from the championship organizers. Registration confirmed. Participant number assigned. It felt real in a way nothing had before. Claire skipped school the next day. By the end of the week, she came back. No punishment touched her, but the hall did not bend around her the way it used to. Whispers followed her for a different reason now. A quiet line had moved. Everyone felt it. Weeks later, Maya found Claire in the library, alone for once. My parents told me to apologize, Claire said. They care about how we look. Maya waited. Is that what you care about? Claire's face changed. They have never seen me fail. Now it is all they see. The words hung in the quiet. For the first time, Maya felt something close to understanding. Maybe it is not about failing or winning. Maybe it is about being real. Claire looked down at her hands. She did not answer. Her shoulders dropped by a fraction as she walked away. Summer brought the championship. The arena smelled like resin and effort. Voices in a dozen languages drifted over the mats. Maya stepped into her ring and did what she had trained to do. She did not win. She placed third. A medal settled against her chest. A small scholarship followed. In the stands, her grandmother cheered beside Coach Daniels and students from the new club who had pooled their money to ride a bus across town. The medal felt heavy. The feeling felt larger than any trophy. It felt like a door opening in the middle of a wall. When fall came, Maya was not invisible anymore. The club grew to 20 members. Some came from teams. Some came from quiet corners of the school. They drilled balance and breath. They learned how to step aside instead of take a hit. The administration posted new rules with real consequences. The change was not perfect. It was progress that did not move backward. On a cool October evening, Maya stood in Master Han's dojang with a small group of children. They copied her stance with serious faces. One girl's mother could not afford lessons. Maya had set aside part of the showcase money to start a small fund. She watched them try a basic form. She watched their shoulders rise and settle as they breathed. Remember, she told them, you are not learning how to fight people. You are learning how to know your own strength. You are learning how to stand in your space and not move when someone tries to push you out. She showed them a simple step. She showed them how to turn fear into focus. Outside, the wind moved red and gold leaves along the sidewalk. Inside, the room felt steady and bright. The line that had started on a cafeteria floor now ran through a stage, a small office, a bus ride, a medal, and this quiet space where new hands found balance. Some walls are not meant to be accepted. They are meant to be changed by steady courage, not by noise. Not by rage alone, by the choice to show who you are again and again until the world finally sees it. Maya untied her belt at the end of class and folded it with care. The chain lay warm against her wrist. She looked at the door and felt no weight in her steps as she walked forward. The next chapter waited. She was ready to write it.